Hi everyone, and welcome to a 5-Minute Friday review, where I focus on a short, to-the-point review of a product. This week, TrekMates. Now there are tons of dry sack options out there on the market. I have two TrekMates Dry Lite Sacks that I've been using for the past few years. For those of you that don't know, the primary purpose of a dry sack like this is to keep the water out, not waterproof, watertight. TrekMates like to say that they blend price with performance, taking note of where their products are going to be used and keep the products focused on a core function of their design. For example, the dry sacks that we're going to review today, the main purpose, keeping water out. These two particular dry sacks are the extra small version and the medium version, two sizes that I use quite frequently. Let me give you a simple explanation of how these dry sacks work. They work because they have taped seams and you roll the ends at least 3 times on this model to keep the water out. You put whatever you want inside the sack, you close it like this, and you fold it over 3 times, like so. And then you fold it like this and clip it together. With that, let's move on to the test. We're going to take the 2 dry sacks and we're going to put some tissue paper inside. Not because I want to keep the tissue paper, but because tissue paper is a perfect method to test whether something is watertight or not. It absorbs water easily and it's very easy to check afterwards. Well, we could do this test outside. This is Sweden, and well, despite it being May and being like fake summer, it's basically not rained at all, it snowed instead. Firstly, we're going to get some tissue and then we're going to put it in the bag. Lastly, we're going to seal it up the correct way, 3 rolls, and we're going to do this with the large bag as well. With the large bag now sealed up correctly, we're going to perform a test on the bags which they perform easily well. Rain. To do this test, we're going to take these dry sacks, we're going to hang them on the dry rack behind me, and we're going to use the shower for 30 seconds to simulate a heavy rainstorm. Okay, 30 seconds are up due to the magic of editing. And now we're going to open these sacks up and see if there's any tissue wet inside. Start with the small one first. And apart from the fact that my hands were wet when I put my hand inside, the tissue is perfectly dry. Now for the large bag. And again, perfectly dry. Okay, now for the final test, being submerged. This is basically the main reason for a dry sack in the first place. It's if you take it hiking and you fall into a river or lake, or if you're kayaking or something similar and your bag falls into the water, it protects all of the water sensitive equipment from getting damaged. Since in the rain test the tissue was dry, we put the tissue back inside the sacks. We're going to put the sacks into the bathtub, we're going to fill it up with water and we're going to submerge the sacks in there for 1 whole minute to see if any water gets in. Okay, I'm going to hold these bags under water for 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute has passed and now we're going to check the bag. Small bag first. There's a couple of drops of water on the tissue here. That could be because when I opened the sack, some might have got in. As I can see, there is some water in the seam. That may be because of the pressure of the air coming out, or it may be when I opened the bag, but it's basically completely dry apart from a couple of drops. Now for the large bag. Apart from a couple of drops, it's perfectly dry. I can see inside there's a couple of drops of water, and by a couple I mean a couple. That again could be the same reason as a small bag. That was the result. Has TrekMates' mission statement lived up to the product? I'm not so sure about that. A dry sack is meant to keep water completely out. It's meant to keep things completely dry. It's meant to be watertight. And if they don't aim for their dry sacks to be used in an environment like a kayak, for example, or in a backpack that might fall into water, and they're not completely watertight, then that statement might not add up. However, for waterproof or rain protection, they work great. I purchased these bags with my own money a few years ago, and I've been using them since then. And for that purpose, they have lived up to. Would I recommend buying these particular ones? I'm not so sure. If you want a perfectly dry sack, it might be worth looking at other brands if you want to be sure about the absolute watertightness of the sack, especially if you're going to put electronics or other really sensitive devices inside. of a dry sack. For those of you that want the information about these products, I've linked all the information below, including the specifications in the description below. I want to thank everyone for watching the video. If you liked the video, please remember to like the video. This helps me a lot. It helps to support the channel. And please leave a comment below if you like the dry sacks or if you recommend any other dry sacks. And also remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon so whenever I release a future video, you get notified directly. This has been Nordic Brit. I'll see you next time.